Yo, what's going on guys, X2 Flair here and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we've got the FPL fixture watch for game weeks 9 to 14. This is where we look at the teams with the easiest fixtures and the hardest fixtures based on the FDR rating and make a recommendation of a couple of players from that team that you guys should be considering to bring into the FPL squads. And before we get into the video, check out our Patreon. The links and details for that are in the description, so if you guys want to see some behind the scenes footage, then check that out. And with that being said, let's get into the video. So before we have a look at the FDR ratings for all the teams from game week 9 to game week 14, let's have a look at how the fixtures line up for game week 9 and some potential players to target from certain teams. In the first fixture, it's Newcastle-Chelsea. This is looking like a good one for Chelsea to get some goals, which includes Timo Werner and Ben Chilwell looking like good options for this game. Moving on to Villa-Brighton, some players to look out for include Jack Grealish and Ollie Watkins to see if they can return their very good attacking form this season. Moving on to Burnley-Palace, this looks like a good one for Wilfried Zaha to add to his goal tally, and Fulham and Everton looks like a very good day out for James Rodriguez, Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison to cash in on a poor Fulham defence. Moving on to Liverpool-Leicester, this looks like the game of the week. Liverpool do have sell out, so if you want to get in Mane for this one, this could be a good opportunity to do so, and also Jamie Vardy is looking good for some more attacking returns. Man United West Brom sees a very good opportunity to bring in some United assets, which include Bruno and Rashford, and Wolves Southampton. Looks like a fairly even game with Southampton making a good start to the season, so defences are looking likely to get some clean sheets there. Moving on to Spurs Man City, this looks like another very good fixture for this game week, with obviously the likes of Son and Harry Kane, also Kevin De Bruyne coming back into the side. This looks like a very good game. Moving on to Sheffield West Ham, if you want to target some West Ham players for this one, I would not recommend a better fixture as Sheffield have not made a good start to the season, so the likes of Kufal and potentially Antonio, if he can get back into the side, this could be a good one to bring into West Ham players. And to cap it off, it's Leeds-Arsenal. This also looks like a very even game, with Arsenal not making the best start to the season and Leeds looking like such an attacking side. Patrick Bamford looks good for some points for this fixture. So taking a look at the first team on the list, it's Aston Villa, who have over the next 6 game weeks the easiest fixtures out of any team in the league. In their next 6, they have Brighton, West Ham, Spurs, Burnley, Southampton and Everton, which look very favourable for some more attacking returns for their players, as Aston Villa have made a very good start not only this season but in FPL as well. These fixtures have an overall difficulty rating of 14 on the FDR, and some key players to look out for include Jack Grealish, Ollie Watkins and Matt Targett. This season, Jack Grealish is the 3rd highest scoring midfielder in the game with a total of 60 points. He has compiled 4 goals and 6 assists this season, and he's been absolutely prolific for the Aston Villa attack. And with these upcoming fixtures, he has got some very nice opponents for some more attacking returns for him, and with the very impressive number 3 overall ICT index ranking, he should be one that you should be considering to bring into the squads. He already has a 34.9% ownership, so he is quite a popular player, so if you are looking to bring in like a mid-price midfielder, then Jack Grealish is definitely one to look out for. So now moving on to Ollie Watkins, he is the 6th highest scoring forward in FPL so far, with a total of 47 points under his belt. He is coming in at £6.1 million and has scored 6 goals and 1 assist this season, and is also looking to be on penalties for Aston Villa, which could be very prolific for some more goals for him in the upcoming game weeks. Now moving on to Matt Targett, he has scored a total of 29 points this season, and he's coming in at just £4.5 million, and considering that the Aston Villa defence has been so good so far this season, they've kept a lot of clean sheets, and to get into that defence for so cheap could be a very nice option for the upcoming game weeks. So now moving on to the next team on the list, it's Manchester United, who over the next 6 fixtures have West Brom, Southampton, West Ham, City, Sheffield and Leeds. This gives them an FDR rating of 16, which means they have the 2nd easiest fixtures over the next 6 game weeks. Some key players to look out for from Manchester United include Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. This season, Bruno Fernandes is the 5th highest scoring FPL midfielder, as he has 53 points under the belt. Last week, we all know he had an incredible performance as he scored 17 points against Everton, getting himself 2 goals and 1 assist. He just seems to be growing in form this season and is looking continuously more impactful into that Manchester United team, as this season he has recorded 5 goals and 3 assists. Bruno Fernandes is coming in with a number 5 overall ICT index ranking and a 24% ownership, so if you are looking for like a mid-owned player in midfield, then Bruno Fernandes could be definitely one to consider, as we all know that he's on penalties and on free kicks, and as I said previously, he's looking very influential in that Manchester United attack. So if you are looking for a nice player in midfield, then Bruno Fernandes would be one to consider for the next 6 game weeks. Now moving on to Marcus Rashford, who this season has scored a total of 35 FPL points. He's coming in at £9.6 million with just an 8.4% ownership. He hasn't made the best start this season, but he is definitely getting so much supply from that United midfield. This season he has recorded 2 goals and 3 assists, which is still very impressive, but there is such a big potential for some more returns as his next fixtures are looking so good. In game week 8 he got 5 points as he got himself an assist, but as I said previously, he's looking so likely for some more attacking returns just because he's getting so many chances. Now moving on to Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he has scored a total of 18 FPL points so far, which is obviously not the best, but with these turn of fixtures, it could be a good opportunity for some clean sheets for him and some attacking returns. Now moving on to the third team on the list, it's Crystal Palace, who in the next 6 have Burnley, Newcastle, West Brom, Spurs, West Ham and Liverpool. This gives them an FDI rating of 17, meaning they have the 3rd easiest fixtures in the next 6 game weeks. Some key players to look out for from Crystal Palace include Zaha, Van Aanholt and Eberechi Eze. This season Zaha is the 4th highest scoring midfielder in FPL with a total of 54 points under his belt. This season he has scored 5 goals and 2 assists and is looking like the main goal source from Palace. We all know how influential Zaha is to the Crystal Palace attack. He's coming in at £7.4 million, and with the upcoming fixtures it could be a nice opportunity to jump on the Zaha bandwagon, as this season he currently has a 30% ownership. He currently has a number 7 overall ICT index ranking, which is looking very impressive, and he is showing some good consistency this season, which has always been the big question mark over Zaha's head. So this could be a good time to get Zaha into the midfield for a nice mid-range priced option. Patrick Van Aanholt scored 5 points in game week 8 as he got himself an assist against Leeds, and is looking to provide a good amount of depth for that Crystal Palace team in attack as well as in defence. So with these turn of fixtures for Palace, hopefully they can get some more clean sheets and potentially some more attacking returns for Patrick Van Aanholt. Moving on to Eze, he had an absolute day out in game week 8 as he got himself 13 points against Leeds. This came about as he got himself a goal and an assist and looked very nice for Crystal Palace, not only from set pieces but in attack as well. He's coming in at £5.8 million and could be a good budget option in midfield as he's only owned by 0.5% of managers. Now moving on to the team with the 4th easiest fixtures in the next 6 game weeks, it's Manchester City. They have Tottenham, Burnley, Fulham, United, West Brom and Southampton as their next 6, which gives them an FDI rating of 17. Some key players to look out for from Manchester City include Kevin De Bruyne, Gabriel Jesus and João Cancelo. Kevin De Bruyne has not made the best start to this season, but combined with injury concerns and just having a couple of difficult fixtures so far, this could be a good opportunity to capitalise on a very big turn of fixtures for Manchester City. We all know how prolific De Bruyne is not only for FPL, but to the Manchester City team. He currently only has a 15.9% ownership, which is very low for Kevin De Bruyne, and if you want to jump on Kevin De Bruyne for this game week, this could be a very good opportunity as I said, his fixtures are looking very good, as up until game week 24, he only has 5 fixtures with an FDI difficulty rating of 4 or above. Now moving on to Gabriel Jesus, this may seem like not the best value option, but since Aguero is going to be injured and most likely continuously in and out of the side, Jesus could be getting some very good game time over the next few fixtures. He's coming in at £9.3 million and got himself a goal in game week 8, which meant he scored 9 points for that game week. He only has a 1% ownership and could be a very good differential option in attack, especially considering how attacking Manchester City are, and if he can get consistent game time for Manchester City, this could be a very good value option who is looking likely for some more attacking returns this season, and especially since Phil Foden is not playing, £9.3 million seems to be the cheapest you can get into the Manchester City attack for. So now moving on to João Cancelo, he is coming in at £5.4 million, which yes is a bit overpriced for defenders, especially considering some other alternatives, but Manchester City actually have not been too bad in defence this season, as they have kept 2 clean sheets so far, but have played the likes of Wolves, Leicester, Leeds, Liverpool, which is very difficult to keep clean sheets, so Cancelo could be a very good option, as he is looking very attacking as well. This season he has only recorded 1 assist, but has looked very impactful in their attack so far. He is getting quite far forward, and with their only 2.1% ownership, could be a good one to consider for the FPL squads for the upcoming game weeks. Now moving on to Liverpool, who over the next 6 game weeks have Leicester, Brighton, Wolves, Fulham, Spurs and Palace. This gives them a difficulty rating of 18 on the FDR, and some players to look out for them include Mo Salah, Sadio Mane and Diogo Jota. Obviously Mo Salah is out with an illness for the next couple of game weeks potentially, but we all know how prolific he is for FPL, so if he can return for the next few fixtures, he is definitely one to have into the FPL squads. He already has a 46% ownership, so if you are part of that 50 or so percent that doesn't have him already, he could be one to consider, as his next 3 fixtures include Leicester, Brighton and Wolves, with 2 of them being at Anfield, and we all know how prolific Salah is at the home ground. Mo Salah is the second highest scoring forward in FPL. He is coming in at £12.4 million, which is a bit expensive compared to his alternative on Mane. But since Salah is on penalties, it just provides him so many more attacking returns, and for that £0.4 million or so extra, you can always bank on those extra goals from the pen spot. This brings me to Sadio Mane. He is coming in at £12 million, which is 0.4 less than Salah. He only has a 9.5% ownership, and as Salah could potentially be out for the next few fixtures, Sadio Mane could be one to turn to for those Liverpool returns. Now moving on to Diogo Jota, who has been in an absolutely prolific form for Liverpool recently, scoring hat-tricks in Champions League and getting so many goals in the Prem recently. In just 3 starts this season, he has already scored 3 goals, and as I said in the Champions League, he did get himself a hat-trick against Atalanta. He's only coming in at £6.5 million and could be a great way to get into the Liverpool attack. If he does get good starting time, Diogo Jota could be very good value because he is listed as a midfielder, but obviously plays in a very attacking position, so he is getting those extra points for a goal, and he's only owned by 9% of managers, so it could be a good opportunity to bring in Diogo Jota into the midfield, as he is a great cheap option who could be great value if he is starting for Liverpool. So now moving on to the next team on the list, it's the other team from Merseyside, being Everton, who have over the next 6 game weeks Fulham, Leeds, Burnley, Chelsea, Leicester, Arsenal. So obviously those last 3 are looking difficult, but if you want to target those next 3 fixtures for Everton, it could be a very good opportunity to do so. Everton have an overall difficulty rating of 19 on the FDR, and some players to look out for them include Dominic Calvert-Lewin, James Rodriguez and Richarlison. Calvert-Lewin has made an absolutely incredible start to the season, as this year he is only blanked in 2 games so far. He has scored 8 goals and 1 assist for Everton, and is just looking like such a consistent player to have into the FPL squads, as this season he has already recorded 57 FPL points. This makes him the 4th highest scoring forward in FPL, and with a 7.8 million price tag, he is looking a bit expensive, but if you are looking for a reliable striker, then Calvert-Lewin is the man. Moving on to James Rodriguez, he is the 7th highest scoring midfielder in FPL so far, with a total of 43 points. He is just coming back from injury, so has blanked in the last couple of game weeks, but I wouldn't be discouraged by that, as once again his next fixtures are Fulham, Leeds and Burnley, and especially since Richarlison is returning to that Everton side, James Rodriguez could be very good value for his price tag. Obviously there is alternatives of Zaha and Grealish around his price tag, but if you want to target these next 3 fixtures for Everton, James Rodriguez could be one to get some big attacking returns and could even be a captaincy shout for Game Week 9. This brings me to Richarlison, who has been out for the last few weeks with a red card against Liverpool, but in just 4 starts for the Blues, he has scored 1 goal and 3 assists, which is very impressive, and for a forward option only coming in at £7.8 million, he could be another good differential pick in the forward line. If you already have Calvert-Lewin, you may want to switch over to Richarlison if you're feeling like taking the risk, or could just be a good alternative instead of Jamie Vardy or Harry Kane. Obviously, they don't have the best upcoming fixtures, especially Harry Kane. So if you want to capitalise on Richarlison's next three, who only has a 3.8% ownership, so this could be a very good opportunity to jump on Richarlison. Now moving on to Leicester City, who over the next 6 game weeks have Liverpool, Fulham, Sheffield, Brighton, Everton and the Spurs. This gives them an overall FDR rating of 19, and some key plays to look out for them include Jamie Vardy, James Justin and Castagna. Jamie Vardy is the second highest scoring forward in FPL with a total of 59 points. He's coming in at £10.1 million and is looking like a very nice alternative to Harry Kane. Jamie Vardy only has a 21.2% ownership, so if you do want to capitalise on his very nice fixtures, I wouldn't even consider Liverpool that bad of a fixture next week, as obviously they are missing Fabinho and Van Dijk, which means they are looking more vulnerable at the back than ever before. And especially considering Spurs' very bad turn of fixtures, it could be time to switch over from Harry Kane to Jamie Vardy to not only get some more returns but free up some money as well. This brings me to James Justin, who has come in with a total of 34 FPL points so far and is owned by 21.9% of managers. So apart from Liverpool, his next 4 fixtures after that are looking quite promising for some more clean sheets for Leicester, as this season they already have 3 clean sheets under the belt. This season James Justin has recorded 1 goal and 1 assist to accompany his 3 clean sheets, and for £4.8 million is looking like a very nice value option in defence. This brings me to another Leicester City defender in Timothy Castagna. He has scored a total of 35 FPL points so far and only has a 9.3% ownership. We all know Castagna was so prolific for Leicester City at the start of the season before his injury, as he recorded 35 FPL points in just 6 game weeks. So now moving on to the next few teams, Leeds and Wolves do have difficult fixtures with the FDI rating of 20, but Patrick Bamford is the only real main talking point from those teams, as many of those players from Leeds and Wolves are quite underowned, so we are going to skip over those and put the main emphasis on Spurs, who have the hardest difficulty in fixtures for this season, I would say, with the next fixtures including City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Palace, Liverpool and Leicester. This gives them an FDI rating of 23, but if you are backing them in to get some returns, which is obviously looking unlikely, but some key players to look out for would include Heung-min Son and Harry Kane. Harry Kane is the top scoring player in FPL so far with a total of 80 points. He is coming in at £11 million, which is a bit expensive considering some more affordable alternatives who have better fixtures than him in the next 6 game weeks. He does have a 45% ownership, but this could see a decrease as FPL managers shift him over to some cheaper alternatives with his turn of fixtures, which could mean, if you are willing to back him in, that he could be a bit of a differential option in the forward line, as if a lot of FPL managers shift him out, then you could be cashing in on some Harry Kane returns that a lot of other FPL managers are missing out on. This brings me to Heung-min Son, who is in a similar boat to Harry Kane. He has scored very well this season, as he is the second highest scoring player in FPL with a total of 74 points. He's coming in at £9.6 million with a 58.5% ownership, but once again this is looking likely to decrease with his next 3 fixtures including City, Chelsea and Arsenal, which are looking very difficult for some more attacking returns for Son. This brings me to a third potential player you could consider from the Spurs, which is Sergio Reguilon. Obviously, I would not recommend this player with the turn of fixtures. He's coming in at £5.6 million, and in just 4 starts for them this season, has already recorded 2 goals and 1 assist. He does seem to provide very good value in attack for Spurs, but as I say, he's looking unlucky for clean sheets, as his next fixtures include City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Palace, Liverpool, Leicester. These are all very good attacking sides, so I wouldn't be bringing in Reguilon, but if you do back him in for his attacking returns, then he could be a decent option, as he has shown that he can do so far this season, and with the ownership of just 4.1%, he could be a good differential pick in defence. So that's what I've got for today, guys, for the FPL fixture watch for game week 9 to game week 14. I know this was a longer video, but I hope you enjoyed. I hope it assisted you making some changes for the FPL squads for these next few game weeks, and opens your eyes to some players that you may not have considered previously that you may want to bring into the squads for these next 6 matches. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.